So what brought me to coaching really is I heard about it in 1998 in a systems journal. So I was already had postgraduate training in systems work, and they were talking about coaching. It's like, what is this? And then it came up a couple of other places. I went to a meeting locally where they described what it was, and I really fell in love, like probably many of you did. Because it was new to me and just a thrilling way of working with people, seeing them as being creative, resourceful, and whole. I love that about coaching.
Uh-huh.
And then in terms of the direct communication, so 98 was my introduction to coaching. And then by 2003, I was training and mentoring other coaches. And what I noticed for beginning coaches was they fell in love with the powerful questions and asked question after question after question after question. And, you know, the poor clients are exhausted, right, from all the questions, and they forgot about direct communication, or maybe they weren't getting enough training around direct communication. And then you look at the ICF competency table for the 3 different levels, ACC, PCC, MCC, almost everywhere, every competency, you know, if you are directing, you will fail. So I think people are afraid of it. They don't really understand it. They're afraid of it. They weren't utilizing it. And I think it's a really powerful competency and tool that we can use for the greatest impact with our clients once you understand it, and the distinction especially between being direct and directing. Yes.
Wow, that is so perfect. Our theme for the month of May for our educational events is around building great new habits as a coach. Mm-hmm. And I think direct communication fits perfectly in that, both within the ICF framework, but also how we become more powerful for our clients.
Yes, yes.
What can people expect in terms of how the May 9th event will look?
Well, it's going to be very experiential. So I teach a 7-session class on this, and it's like a lab. So I share a little bit of content, and then we do practice coaching with feedback. So that will be the format of the evening. Wow. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how ICF Colorado plays with this concept. Yes. And I want to add also that another thing really important to keep in mind on direct communication, and you know this, Andy, because you work internationally, is the cultural difference on the spectrum between, you know, being very indirect to very direct. But it's not just for international. So, you know, you're a man, I'm a woman, we have gender differences, we have generational differences, we have ethnicity. There's many different cultural factors that tie into how direct or indirect we communicate. And so what do we decide as coach and client? How direct are we going to be? And that ties into the agreement, you know, and the partnership, which shows up in trust and intimacy. So then you start to see how really tied it is to all of the competencies.
Wow, that's so perfect. And I know many of our members are so focused on better mastery of their coaching, and it sounds like this will fit in perfectly for that.
Yes.
And recognizing those cultural differences, those gender differences, and the biases we bring into coaching, right?
Absolutely. So you can see the banner behind me. That's another passion of mine, and a book that I've authored is Breaking Free from Bias. Yes.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had to summarize what people could take away from this educational event, what would that be, Marilyn?
I believe they will be taking away a greater understanding of direct communication in coaching, and the distinction, as I mentioned before, between being direct and being directing, and also the cultural differences. So that's a beginning understanding. There's so much to direct communication, like the use of metaphors and sharing your intuition, which also shows up in several other competencies. But I'm not sure that we'll be able to pack it all into an hour and a half. As much as I can pack in and we can pack in, we will.
Wow.